So, 1.1 industry and enterprise, and this is all part of new and emerging technologies. So, this is almost like the starting point of the whole GCSE theory course. So, and the first one to look at is industry. Now, industry, we're talking about like what's changed over humanity's history in terms of the way that we actually produce things, what's enabled those changes to happen, and like what's the difference between then and now. How has that positively and negatively impacted our society? I've got two really interesting videos on here. This one labeled Old Industry. Now, if you watch this video, you'll see like the old Ford Model T production line. Now, bear in mind that in its day, Ford was like at the cutting edge of mass production. Like Henry Ford and his team, they sort of developed almost the concept of actually having a factory line of production. So almost having a vehicle that's moving non-stop through the production process, and it almost guarantees that you have a certain volume of output. Now, he was one of the pioneers of manufacturing technology. Before that, yeah, things were less advanced, and it took a lot longer to produce things. So, yeah, industry changed massively in the 20th century. I mean, we're talking like post-industrial revolution, but also in history, you might have, if you study history, you might have learned about how war affects the development of technology, because obviously it drives change and it forces change through very much quicker than it would do in peacetime. So, with that in mind, it's really interesting if you watch the Ford Model T being produced and then watch this very short video of Tesla's Giga Berlin, which is only just open, like literally last week. Giga Berlin opened. Okay, I'm recording this video in April, but it's literally just opened. So Giga Berlin is like probably one of the most advanced mass manufacturing centers in the world right now. And that's a CAD rendering, but that's an image of the actual factory itself. Now, the production processes that they have going on in there is insane. Now, what you have to think of with all these things is the general changes to society. So when you look at videos of old production systems like this, you'll see lots and lots and lots of people all doing like very simple repetitive tasks. If you watch the Tesla one, you'll see not very many people, lots of robots, lots of automation, and a few people just walking around monitoring things, maybe doing a couple of jobs, but mainly that humans are there as a sort of in a supervisory capacity. Now, the difference is back then, labor was cheaper on the whole, even in like home countries like Ford was manufacturing in the US. So labor was a lot cheaper back then. So they could afford to hire lots and lots of people, what we call unskilled workers, to do unskilled jobs. Like it might literally be putting a bolt onto part of an engine, and literally that's your job all day, every day, just putting the same bolt on in the same place. Unskilled, pays them a wage, and that's it. They don't really need to be trained up to do anything. They don't need like any qualifications. They barely need to have been to school. Like you can just employ them just to do that one job. Now, jumping forward like 100 years plus, we're then looking at Tesla, where they've got multifunctional programmable robots that are smart. They can actually think and identify what they've done, and they can look at the way they've done something and how well they've done it, and they can analyze and evaluate that. Now, the people that then run these machines, these people are much more specialist. Like they will need to have degrees in robotics or engineering or manufacturing technology or something like that. Like they are skilled workers. They'll be paid a lot more money, and they really know their stuff. So you'll find most people that work in, say, a Tesla Gigafactory will be skilled at something, like whether or not they've got a degree, but they'll have had to have gone through quite a lot of training, which Tesla would train them up in to do a specific area or to supervise a specific area. It might be like the paint shop or the engine block, the motor section, or it might be the programming section, or the bodywork sector of the factory. Like there's all sorts of different parts of the factory that need to come together to work together to then make the final product. So Tesla is a really good example right now to look up, just because the manufacturing tech that they're doing is so cutting edge. So if you're curious about this, like there's loads of videos on YouTube. There's a really good drone fly-through video right now of the Giga Berlin factory, and it's just amazing. The drone literally flies through the whole factory, so it's worth having a look at that. So yeah, that's really my overview of like industry and what it can do. So positives of this are that obviously back in the day that was creating a lot of jobs. The negatives were they were very unskilled jobs. There was no progression with those. You just had to sit and do that job all day every day for the whole of your working life. Jump forward when you've got robotics. Immediately, as soon as you introduce robotics, you introduce unemployment and a requirement for people to be much more skilled up. But the positive side of that is you have a lot more product output, and arguably, if the company's really good, they'll invest in people and they'll pay to skill them up and they'll pay to train them. Some companies will even offer a sort of quasi degree or something like that as once you've completed a certain number of years there or something. So it all kind of like hinges on how well the company runs it.